You are now watching Zach Lesage, the best place to learn about competitive Pokemon TCG. Let's get it! Yo, what's poppin' peeps? Welcome back to the channel. Zach Lesage here. What's up? Today we're going to be covering over another Brilliant Stars deck. This is a deck that comes from not Brilliant Stars. It was released before that, but it never had the chance to shine, Durant. Now that we have a lot of the pieces that would make Durant work in this format, such as double turbo energy and having access to Roseanne's backup, and even the buffed up Minccino, we look at all aspects when it comes to this channel. We have a potential mill deck on our hands. I'm not trying to say that this is the best deck in the format, but it's certainly an interesting deck. And when's the last time we saw a mill deck? Last time I remember is around 2019, Toronto Regionals, March 2019, so about 3 years ago. Or maybe 2020, maybe 2 years ago. 2 years ago, I think it's 2 years ago. Anyways, it doesn't matter. I think it's cool to have another alternate win condition deck in the format. Let me know what you think about the deck in the comments below. I do get back to everyone's comments. Give this video a thumbs up. It definitely helps boost the YouTube algorithm, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. I've been covering these early deck profiles, so you at least have some skeleton bases to go off of when you have access to Brilliant Stars. Maybe you want to start some own tabletop or proxies at your local league or with some friends. This is what it's all about. Hopefully you enjoy it. Let's check out this Durant deck. Word up, here we have the Durant deck list. So I'm going to start off by saying this is an early Durant build, and I don't want to say that Durant's going to be one of the best decks. I think it's an interesting take, and one thing that I aim to do on my channel is showcase where cards, like cards that we've seen that haven't necessarily saw success, might gain some success from Brilliant Stars, just to kind of get the creative juices flowing. Double Turbo Energy, the card at the very bottom right of this deck list, is you can attach it to any one of your Pokemon, and it provides 2 colorless energies, and your attacks do minus 20 damage. This is one of those cases where we already have access to Twin Energy, but playing 4 Twin Energy likely was not enough for Durant, especially since we never had Roseanne's backup in order to get back other energies or anything else like that. Now that we have both Double Turbo Energy and Roseanne's backup, a deck like Durant might actually kind of flourish and thrive, because you could actually use Devour over and over again so that you could deck out your opponent's Pokemon. So that's kind of the strategy of this deck. So very early build of Durant. I have thought about adding Crushing Hammer in here. I thought about adding Path to the Peak. I thought about adding Fan of Waves. There are a lot of other cards that I thought about adding in here. I ultimately decided to go for a Durant build, focusing on Devour and making sure that we could boss, kind of bring up one of our opponent's Pokemon and see how things stick. So between boss, Pal Pad, we can make that happen. If you're looking for the translations of these cards, there is a link in the description that shows what's going on at Pokebeach, so you can check that out for what's going to be coming out, or most of the cards that are going to be coming out in Brilliant Stars. The set list has not been officially released, but these decks should be like 99% good to go. It's more or less like other random cards that we might add into our set. So when it comes down to Minccino, we're going to start off... oh, cool. We're gonna go back there. Big face sack. Gotta love it. Hopefully y'all enjoyed that. Let me know in the comments below what you think of the big face sack. That being said, when it comes to the Minccino, Minccino's really gonna be the first card that we're looking at in this deck. And the Minccino allows us to kind of be better than the other Minccinos that we've had before. This one has Call for Family, where you can search your deck up for 2 basic Pokemon, and you are able to go ahead and search your deck for 2 basic Pokemon. Other ones have look at your opponent's hand or do 30 damage or whatever. Cinccino is going to work out in this deck, so that's the best Minccino. It does allow us to play Cinccino. This deck, it was like, there was a few options where I might want to go Cinccino, I might want to go the new barrel from the sets. I thought that Cinccino would go pretty good because there's a lot of supporters that I might want to pitch mid-game, such as Peonia, so we always have some kind of draw supports that we're able to draw cards, etc., etc. So Cinccino's basically going to be draw support for this deck. So you have Pokemon on your bench. It works well with Scoop Up Net, because this deck does not have any other switching cards. Works well with Scoop Up Net and has ways for you to kind of just make your deck consistent. Durant's the main all-star of this deck, where we're only using the Devour attack. We're not looking at Vice Grip. You discard a card for each of your Durants in play off the top of your opponent's deck. So we are going for an alternative win condition, decking out our opponents. So if you have 4 Durants in play, you're ripping 4 cards per turn. We also have Cursed Shovel, so you attach it to your Durant. If your opponent knocks out that Pokemon, they discard the top 2 cards of their deck. I think that's a really cool strategy because you could be ripping a lot of cards off the top of your opponent's deck. Of course, they're also playing cards, so you probably only have to discard 30-ish cards. Maybe against a Mew VMAX, you only have to discard 20-25 cards. And the whole goal is to make your opponent struggle throughout the game so that they can't really play all the cards that they want. They're probably not going to be playing those researches. You got to watch out for Devour. Manaphy is a cool way for us to not get bopped by Jolteon VMAX or Rapid Strike Urshifu VMAX. It does have its ability that's very similar to Mew VMAX's, or Mew from Unbroken Bond's bench barrier. So you block all the bench damage done to your Pokemon. So that means that you could have those other Durants in play and they're not going to get G-Max Rapid Flowed or Max Thunder Rumbled. You could have Cinccinos on your bench. So in those particular matchups, Manaphy is busted. And if they do knock it out by boss's orders or quick shooting, you can always get it back with Rescue Carrier or Roseanne's backup. Bruno is like the supporter of choice for a deck like this. Any single prize card deck is probably going to be playing Bruno because you get to shuffle your hand into your deck and draw up to 7 if one of your Pokemon was knocked out. Considering your Pokemon are worth 1 prize card, it's much easier to pull off Bruno multiple times and get that full effect off. Otherwise, it's a good shuffle and draw effect for 4, and you can always draw cards with Cinccino. So you can go from a big hand to a small hand, or you can always refresh your cards so you have ways to get them. I think that Boss's Orders is really our second strategy when it comes to Durant. So while some players might go Team Yell Grunt and Sydney and other ways to discard cards from your opponent's hands or discard their energies from play, I want to go Boss's Orders on our opponent's Pokemon, stick their Pokemon in the active spot, and go Galar Mine. So their retreat cost is extra. That also helps us get around other random stadiums or things that might be helpful to our opponents. We can get back Boss's Orders again with Pal Pad. We could also get back Roseanne's backup to get back our Galar Mines. So we might be able to get access to 5 Boss's Orders in a game if we really need to. If your opponent has to really discard their hands and draw 7 cards with research, that Boss's Order might have just won you the game. So think of Boss as a unique way to stick your opponent into a situation where they either have to have it or they have to play a card that allows them to get it. Think about that. It's really interesting. Peonia allows us to kind of manipulate our prize cards with this deck in case we have Durant's prized. So if we are able to get Durant out relatively early, we can use Peonia to kind of get them out of our prize cards if we have them, or anything else that might be prized like Manaphy. Cynthia's Ambition is a new card coming out in Brilliant Stars. So you get to draw until you have 5 cards in your hand, and if one of your Pokemon were knocked out during your last turn, you get to draw until 8. Very similar to Bruno, except it's kind of raw draw instead of shuffle draw. That's why I felt like Bruno would always draw more cards, because if your hand's really big with Cinccino, maybe you're not going to be using Cynthia's. Maybe you are, so something to consider. Roseanne's backup, again, a new card coming out in Brilliant Stars. So you get to choose up to 4 of these. You can choose a Pokemon, a Stadium, Pokemon Tool, and an Energy. That works out really well when it comes down to a lot of these things where you're able to grab an Energy back. Maybe your opponent ran out of some, or maybe you ran out of some getting it knocked out. You have access to 6 energies. You want to be able to kind of attack with Durant 6 times is the goal with this deck, or get off 6 Devours, if not more, in order to win the game. You can get back Cursed Shovel, so you can get access to more discarding of your opponent's deck, because each Cursed Shovel is worth 2 prize cards off the top of your opponent, or 2 cards off the top of your opponent's deck. You can get back Galar Mine to stick your opponent's Pokemon like kind of in the active a little bit longer with Boss's Orders, or cause them to retreat, or anything else. And you also have you can get back another Pokemon, so maybe it could be a Durant. Like Roseanne's really helps it a lot. Everything in this deck is searchable by Level Ball, and everything in this deck is searchable by Ultra Ball. Quick Ball's really one of those things where you can grab everything except Cinccino, but Level Ball does search out Cinccino, and it does make this deck relatively consistent and get out a bunch of Durants and a bunch of draw support Pokemon and stuff like that. Pokégear allows us to grab into those Peonias early game, or bosses early, like however we want throughout the game, and allows us to get Brunos so that we can play less draw supporters, because we only play 6 draw supporters when it comes to this deck. Scoop Up Net works well so that you can maybe use Cinccino again. You could also get out of the active spot. You don't want to play like Air Balloon because you want to have access to Cursed Shovel. You don't want to be playing Switch because you might run out of them. So Scoop Up Net seems to be working out incredibly nice in this deck because all Pokemon can be Scoop Up netted. and I'm sure there's going to be other random plays that work well with that. Rescue Carriers to make sure that we can get back all of our Durants, especially if our opponent's able to knock them out. I might want to cut a Rescue Carrier for another Roseanne's backup. Really one of those things that I'm still trying to consider here. I'm not entirely sure how I want to do that, but right now I think it's relatively strong and powerful. Pal Pad, again, is to get back whatever supporters we need, whether we need draw supporters, Roseannes, bosses. It does allow us to, instead of playing another Roseannes and another boss, it's kind of the spot between both. I don't think you really want to be playing a third Peonia. We only play 2 to be able to get them out early. And Bruno and Cynthia, you should be able late game to be drawing cards with Cynthia. Or with Cinccino, I should say. So you might not need those. Again, this list might be changed up a little bit to include another boss, another Roseanne's. Those might prove to be a little bit more important. Again, hence the early deck list. Let me know in the comments below what you think. I know that Durant might not be the best deck in formats, and that's not to say that it is or that it isn't. I'm just saying that it's a deck that I think it's worthwhile to cover so everyone understands what's going on. Cursed Shovel, you're slapping on the Durant, so when they knock out the Durant, your opponent they have to discard 2 cards from their deck. So it works really well with the Devour. Galar Mine is working with boss's orders, really stopping your opponent. And both Twin Energy and Double Turbo Energy are almost interchangeable here. Basically, we're only attacking with Devour. I mean, if worst comes to worst, you could attack with Call for Family with Minccino. Not really using Energy Assist or anything else. The energies can be used for retreating purposes as well. But it does seem pretty cool. I don't know, I think having a mill deck and having some alternate win condition decks in formats is a lot more cool than just going with decks like Mew VMAX that just go attack, attack, attack and doing damage. I think decks like this really offer a strategy for everyone. So hopefully you enjoyed this deck. We'll have to see if we can get some tabletop gameplay with it, but maybe we'll do a deck when it comes out on PTCGO or PTCG Live and see exactly how that goes. And that's what we got going on with the Durant deck today. Hopefully you enjoyed learning a little bit more about this deck. I think it's really, really cool. I'm super, super, super stoked to kind of show exactly what it could be. I usually find when I'm covering these decks like this, I find little things that I'm nitpicky a bit about while I'm looking at it. I'm like, I want to change this card to that card, this card to that card, but that's why there's always room for more testing and improvement and deciding these decks. I'd love some help from the community, so if you have any ideas for decks that you want to see on the channel that are Brilliant Stars formats, or if you just want to kind of spark a discussion in my DMs or the Discord, by all means check out the description and do that. If you're trying to pick up some of these cards beforehand on PTCGO, go to PTCGOstore.com, plug in code Lesage5, you can save 5% on your next order of codes. That does help me as a content creator, because I do get a little bit of a splashback there, not gonna lie, so it'd be cool if help you. I got some cheaper codes, help me as a content creator make this more of a full-time thing. That being said, I will catch up with all y'all later. Peace out and have a great day. I truly appreciate you taking the time out of your day to watch this video. It means the world to me, and my goal with this channel is to spread my love of the game and knowledge with our entire Pokemon TCG community. If you haven't already, help signal boost this video to other Pokemon TCG fans by liking it, sharing it with your friends, and subscribing to the channel. Hopefully we reach our goals really soon. Check out this recommended video, and have yourself a great day. Thanks.